Tonight, farmers' fury as changes to the Mining Act look set to become law, and a number of events in our region secure funding from the state government.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, thanks for your company this Thursday evening. Farmers on the Yorke Peninsula have reacted with anger after controversial changes to the Mining Act passed the lower house. It passed despite 4 government MPs, including Fraser Ellis, crossing the floor.
Yorke Peninsula farmers are reeling from the news that a contentious mining bill had passed through the upper house of Parliament in the late hours of last night. A move the farming community says will endanger their property rights, giving miners greater access to their lands.
Basically, this is business as usual, which is not going to help farmers whatsoever.
They've been treated very poorly, and that's going to happen on a big scale if this all goes ahead.
The government says the reforms are to the contrary, a step the mining minister believes will mutually benefit both the agricultural and mining sectors.
It's a very positive, constructive step forward to have this bill passed so that the benefits that are on the table can be locked in.
Mining groups are hoping for a bipartisan approach between the agriculture and mining sectors going forward.
Finding a way forward, working together with stakeholders and generating the right outcomes for both businesses.
Jeff Brock says he's concerned with the new amendments. The member for Frome now pushing for a motion of an independent review on the 31st of July.
The Minister may say it's complex and things like that. Doesn't mean to say we should not at least have an inquiry into this.
The member for Narunga, one of 4 backbenchers to cross the floor, says he is disappointed with last night's decision. But he says he will continue to fight and will consider support for the member for Frome's request for an independent review.
Well, this is only the start of the battle, not the end. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with farmers to try and receive and get an equitable outcome more in line with their colleagues in the state. But
Yorke Peninsula farmers will be nervously waiting for a reply.
It's going to be a lot of very sad stories come out of it, I think.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta police are seeking witnesses to an incident on Tuesday morning in which a car allegedly drove at a pedestrian. It's alleged a red Ford Ute deliberately mounted the curb on Chinnery Street, narrowly missing the bystander. A 40-year-old Port Augusta man has been arrested and charged with acts to endanger life and driving in a manner dangerous to the public. It's understood the 2 parties are known to each other. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers. And a man's lost his licence after allegedly being caught travelling more than 45 kilometres over the speed limit in a 100 zone near Clare. The 48-year-old from the Adelaide Plains was clocked doing 148 kilometres in his Ford Ute on Blythe Plains Road just outside Hoyleton at 6 p.m. last night. He was issued with an expiation notice for speeding and an instant 6-month loss of licence. SAPOL are urging drivers to remain safe on our regional roads. Port Lincoln's Teakle Auto Sprint and Tunarama are the big winners in the latest round of state government funding. They're 2 of 30 regional events that'll share in over $340,000 in grant funding.
It's a new event heading to Streaky Bay, getting you into the action and, if brave enough, showing off your skills.
This is the first full-blown rodeo in 30 years, so it's quite an epic thing that's coming to town.
The event is run by the Australian Professional Rodeo Association, one of the oldest national rodeo organisations in the world. Organisers preparing for what they say will be the most anticipated new event to hit the Eyre Peninsula.
We've got live music and amusements at the rodeo, and we're also having some great events at the hotel in town. So it's going to be a big buzz for everybody.
It's just one of several events across the EP receiving financial support from the state government, the event receiving close to $5,000 in grant funding.
They've been great supporters of Streaky Bay and the Eyre Peninsula, and they know the efforts that we've been investing into our community. So to have their support is just absolutely brilliant.
The government delivering more than $340,000 in grant funding towards 30 regional events. Port Lincoln's time-honoured Tunarama and Tikal Auto Sprint also securing extra support.
On Eyre Peninsula there are 4 recipients, totalling about $50,000. So the Oyster Festival at Ceduna, Tunarama, of course in Port Lincoln in January, and then the Tikal Auto Sprint.
Details about these events can be found on the SA Tourism website. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Adelaide Symphony Orchestra has visited Port Pirie as part of a regional tour. They paid a special visit to St Mark's College, taking students on a unique musical journey.
A honk, a whistle, and a cheer. The sounds of the bush came to life through music at St Mark's College, with students being treated to a live show from the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra.
We're doing a bush concert program, which is a really fantastic education program which combines a singer and a small ensemble of musicians.
The ASO was in the community after a performance at the Northern Festival Theatre last night. The show, a unique opportunity for students living regional to gain a live music experience.
I wasn't able to see an orchestra until I was 15 years old, so I know how much it means to the community, and I know how much they will get out of this experience.
The Bush Concert is a tale based on community, adversity and inclusion, teaching students about the harsh conditions of drought through song and dance. Also an opportunity for the students to be involved in creating the narrative.
Kids get an experience to sort of see the book, hear it sung, hear it played, and they get to hear the sounds of the orchestra.
That's one of the really wonderful things about music, is how it brings people together for a shared experience. And it's just amazing to see the support that's come out from the community.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Bedford Phoenix and a local oyster company partner together, and Whyalla raises over $20,000 for the Royal Flying Doctor. Welcome back. Port Lincoln's Bedford Group is branching out its operations into the fishing industry, with workers making thousands of oyster baskets for local producers in Coffin Bay.
It's a new job proving popular among the Bedford team. The group hard at work making products for the local fishing industries.
We're making some oyster baskets over here for Angel Seafoods, and we also tie knots in ropes for the mussel farm industry here in Port Lincoln.
Bedford employs nearly 50 people, all with different types of disability.
Having a job for any of us is empowering. So these guys get to learn all different sorts of skills. They get to come out and socialise with their workmates.
The team working with Angel Seafoods Oyster Farm in Coffin Bay. The group needing to make around 76,000 plastic cylinders per year.
Hope is to be able to get to 1,900 baskets a week. We're pretty close to that at the minute, and we've really only been going full pelt for the last 4 weeks.
Members say they loved the job, getting a chance to meet new people.
I love it here. There's more family, more like joining families and friends.
Yep, absolutely fantastic.
Miss Millard says the team's in desperate need for more workers, with 15 positions available for people on the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Come and see us. You could get a job here in the oyster baskets, in the gardening team, in the cleaning team.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Good stuff, guys. Construction of Port Lincoln stormwater pumping stations has reached the next stage this week, with work shutting down parts of Tasman Terrace. The next step focusing on connecting the pump station to the outflow pipe on the foreshore, causing temporary road closures. Construction on the station began last month in an effort to avoid future flooding along the town's main road. Project manager BMD Construction say 25% of the project is finished. The pumping station is expected to be completed by the end of November. Whyalla volunteers have fundraised over $23,000 for the Royal Flying Doctor service. They say it relies on support from rural communities to continue their vital services.
Not your average sausage sizzle. These volunteers are celebrating the money they've raised for the Royal Flying Doctor.
$23,000. And that's quite a pleasing effort. I thought Whyalla's done very well, really.
40 Whyalla volunteers donating their time nearly every week of the year. Their hard work doesn't go unnoticed.
Do what everybody else does, raffles, lucky squares, cake stalls and the likes, but our barbecues are very much our big income earner.
Volunteers say the community relies on this service.
We all think of the RFDS as being a support for remote areas, but when you think that they service Whyalla more than 500 times a year.
You follow their flight tracker at most times, any time of the day. You can have up to 13 flying doctors in the sky over Australia at the one time.
And they say the money raised has been used for a worthwhile cause.
Purchase of new aircraft and to keep them in the sky. Without volunteers, without donations, without supporters, there would be no flying doctor.
Anyone interested in volunteering can find information online. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Indigenous artists in the Upper Spencer Gulf will soon have a new outlet to display their works, with a new art gallery preparing to open its doors. The project aiming to be a safe space for women to connect.
Putting the finishing touches on a project that began 2 years ago. Jar Jar and Jonas Dare's dream of an art gallery will soon become a reality. Healing for Aboriginal women, a particular focus of the space.
And we thought, wouldn't it be amazing to come down to Bungala Country and start working on repairing the Seven Sisters songlines.
The renovated gallery in Corn is primed for its first exhibition this Saturday to mark the start of NAIDOC Week. Artists from the local area, the APY lands and Central Desert, crafting works to the theme of Voice, Treaty, Truth.
Mostly they're dreaming and stories from the places where people hold those stories.
The duo also planning to hold workshops as a way to grow the bond between Aboriginal women.
We'll also have professional development workshops like how to choose a canvas.
Part of it is women being able to come together and strengthen that within themselves.
They're hoping the gallery will also act as an education tool for non-Indigenous people.
In a way that they can learn more and get, I often say, like a tangible experience of what our culture actually offers.
The exhibition will open its doors at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll find out what fish are biting in the Spencer Gulf this week. And Brett will have the latest weather details. Hello again. Hundreds of visitors are expected to travel to Quorn this weekend for the 100 Miles of Music event. Some of Australia's best country musicians dusting off their guitars to perform.
It's been 12 months in the making, but the 100 Miles of Music event is about to take centre stage, and tickets have been flying out the door.
We actually just about ran out for the Quorn one, and I had to get an extension through our licensing.
The inaugural event will tour from Wombat Flat to William Creek, making a pit stop at Quorn Oval on Sunday, featuring some of the biggest names in country music.
Adam Harvey, I mean, everyone knows that he's a household name in the country music scene. And Brad Butcher's just pretty close behind him. Elise Simmons, she's fantastic.
Pubs also bracing for a busy weekend, with upwards of 400 visitors expected.
We've heard a lot of people talking about it, had a lot of people ringing up for accommodation and all sorts of things.
Yeah, pretty much all the accommodations, I believe, is about full now in town.
Using local businesses for a variety of food and drink services is a key focus of the tour.
Events like this that, give them something to earn some extra money for their club, and they can create and make their club better.
Grants from both the Foundation for Regional Renewal and the state government have propped up the event, allowing organisers to plan for its return next year. Performers will take to the stage at 2 p.m, with tickets still available online. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Sounds like a good weekend. Time to check what local anglers can catch on the water this week. Here's Fishing Tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. They're not really catching great numbers of any one species, but getting a bit of a variety. Salmon up and around the creeks and also down along the shacks there. There's a few grass whiting getting caught for the people who have been targeting King George whiting. They've been a little bit quiet, but what they have been getting has been quite big. It's a nice big flathead caught at night actually off jetties down along the shacks. The squid have been around, but they've been a bit patchy actually. Some people are bagging out, other people are getting none. And that's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. It's a little bit hard to give you some good ideas at the moment because we've had that terrible cold weekend last and most of us didn't venture out too far. But what we do need to do is sort of start working around what the process is of our fishing at this moment. King George whiting are a little bit slow. You do need to go over around the eastern shoal, top end towards Spit. You'll actually find yourself some fish. But what I think we should do is if you've got a smaller boat, try around your creek areas and look for some of the salmon and so forth that are coming out. We have talked about flathead in the past. I think they'll do you the best catches as well.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Lincoln. Starting up around Tumby Bay, there's been a few whiting and a few squid being caught from the jetty lately. Moving down towards Port Lincoln, the squid have been going okay. Seems to be a little bit slow for this time of year. There should be some more fish around, but hopefully we see an influx of those fish come into the bay soon. Moving over to Coffin Bay, it's been a pretty similar story. There's been some whiting inside the bay, but mainly salmon trout. The better whiting catches have been coming from the Farm Beach area, towards the Sand Hills and up towards Frenchman's as well. That's about it for this week. We'll see you again next week.
Weather time now, and it was a sunny day across the region, but showers are on the way. Here's Britt with the details.
Thanks, John. We've also seen slightly warmer maximums today about Port Augusta and Port Pirie, with other major centres sitting around the average. Port Augusta reached 19 today, Port Pirie 17, Whyalla, Broken Hill and Adelaide 16, Port Lincoln 15. The region remained mostly cloud-free today, with a high-pressure system over Bass Strait continuing to move to the east. Tomorrow on the Gulf waters we'll see northeasterly winds up to 20 knots with seas at 1 metre, and the sun will rise once again at 7:25 in the morning. We can expect mostly sunny conditions and a warmer day tomorrow, maximum temperatures jumping around 4 to 5 degrees from today. Port Augusta looking at a top of 23, Whyalla and Port Pirie both 21, Woodner, Corn and Broken Hill all 20, Coffin Bay, Cleve, Kadina and Adelaide 19, Port Lincoln 18, Clare 17. And looking ahead to the weekend now, with showers forecast about most of the region. Port Lincoln rain and 18 Saturday, Sunday showers and 17, Cleve and Woodner both with showers and tops of 19 on Saturday, looking fine on Sunday. Whyalla showers through the weekend, 21 on Saturday, Sunday 17. Port Augusta remaining fine, 23 on Saturday, Sunday 19. Kadina showers through the weekend, Saturday 19, Sunday a top of 16 degrees. Port Pirie and Clare both expecting a showery weekend, and Broken Hill remaining fine with tops of 20 Saturday and Sunday. And that's all in local weather, John. It's back to you.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll have some updates later in the evening, but until then, enjoy your evening here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.